Alrighty, we're back. Another episode of Post-Fades Cheesesteaks. This is episode 55. Big stuff. Usual suspects tonight. We got or this morning or this afternoon, whenever you're listening. Myself, Dakota, and of course Tim. So Thursday we had the NFL release the schedules for all the 32 teams. I don't know like when this became such like a big thing. Like I feel like probably in like the 90s it probably was like, oh, here's the schedule. People that'd be like print on a sheet of paper and like, but nowadays, especially me being in sports, like I follow a ton of people on Twitter who like working creative and stuff for like NFL teams, and I see all of these like crazy like people, they put so much time and money in like videos for schedule drops.
Oh, absolutely.
It's insane. Like they get celebrities to do shit. Like the Eagles one this year was a little more tame than their usually they go out all out, but this one was like they hired a graffiti artist, I think. And then
that's kind of
like
cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
I didn't see that. Well, I mean, you got to, match the hype to the expectations.
Yeah. And I saw the Bengals was cool. They had like former Bengals players and they made them into like, remember how I did that Embiid like rotating card thing?
Yeah.
They did like something similar where it was like they'd show they go like, oh, week 4 we play, the Ravens or whoever, and they would be like a highlight from one of their like Bengals Hall of Fame players and like show a highlight into his card and stuff. So teams get creative. And the other one I saw was the Broncos. They had Peyton Manning come back as an intern, and then they were like, yeah, he was like, oh, I beat that team and that team and that team.
That's pretty good. Did you? My favorite. I didn't look at all of them, but my favorite. Did you see the Chargers?
With the Pop-Tarts thing?
Yeah, it was like such a ridiculous idea. And then I'm like scrolling, like these flavors are just absurd. Like what? Who came up with this? Like I saw dead leaves, like ground beef.
The Eagles one was like ranch flavored Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, I was like, what? Who came up with this?
My favorite was the Dallas Cowboys, because every other team they played had Pop-Tart, and then they had the Cowboys great value Pop-Tarts.
See, I like that, but there was another one I liked was the Patriots. They put the unfrosted strawberry Pop-Tart. It was the only Pop-Tart that's actually a real Pop-Tart, but it's like by far the worst.
Because
like everyone
boring.
Everyone hates unfrosted strawberry. I don't know why they make it, but
I think the Browns was like beans. Like they were so weird.
Yeah, it was pretty odd, but I mean, I'm excited. It's got me hype. I don't even remember being that big of a deal until really they started doing like NFL Network, and then the NFL became a 365-day a year league. So it's perfect timing. The draft is over with. We've done all the dissections. We've done all the grades. We've done all the projections. Now we needed something new to talk about to get us through the summer, and the schedule list came out, and man, I'm pumped. It's like that Christmas morning. You come down, you look at all your presents, you're looking at the big boxes, you're looking at the ones with the extra wrapping paper and stuff, and you're like, wonder what that is. I wonder what awesome thing that is. And then you look at the schedule and you look at the games and you're like, you know what? Wonder how that game's going to play out. Maybe are the Eagles going to upset either of the Super Bowl teams from last year when they bring them in to link this year? Who knows? But we'll wait until the fall to find out.
Yeah. So speaking of the Eagles, I have their schedule loaded up right here. And they have, according to like percentages, they actually ended up getting the easiest schedule in the NFL of all the 32 teams, which in my time of watching Eagles, I don't think has ever happened.
No,
because usually we have like, I know last year we had like the 6th hardest or like the 8th hardest or something like that.
Yeah.
So they calculate that by taking all the opponents that they faces, like win percentages, and then they just like come to a number, and then the Eagles came out to like a 430%, like 0.430, so all below 500.
Well, I mean, it helps that you're playing 6 games against your division where a below 500 team won the division. So
right, that's and because the Cowboys, so Eagles were 32 and then the Cowboys were 31, so yeah, that definitely impacts that. But yeah, we talked a little bit earlier before we jumped on, but I wouldn't say that they have the easiest schedule. I mean, the division games are always tough, and I mean, they have to play both Super Bowl teams, the Chiefs and the Bucs.
Yeah.
The Saints are always tough, even no Drew Brees, so it'll be interesting to see how they pan out. But yeah, I mean, it's a doable. I mean, before even seeing the schedule and knowing who we were going to play, I felt if Jalen Hurts played, and he played up to, how he played at the end of last year, and the team stayed relatively healthy, I felt like they were a 7-9, 8-8 team again. But
I mean, that's the best possible situation, I think. And, there's going to be some injuries. We're always injured. And I mean, the schedule, there's a couple, you said it's the worst record, but there are teams like, the 49ers who didn't have a great record last year, who are going to be better this year. I expect the Falcons, another team that weren't great last year, to be much better this year.
We always play the Falcons the first game of the season now. I don't know why.
That's what I say. It's either the Falcons or the Redskins. It's like they're so uncreative. It's either Atlanta or Washington.
We always play Atlanta in the wild card, and we always play Atlanta to open our season. I don't know why.
Yeah. But I mean, there are some, there's obviously some juggernauts on this schedule, and there's some sneaky teams that I think are going to be pretty tough. Like, I expect the Chargers to be difficult, the Raiders to be a little bit better. Niners, I already said, and the Falcons. So we'll see. I like the 4 division games to end the year, coming off that bye, and then you got 4 division games right in a row. If this division is as terrible as it was last year, that could be a stretch that gets you the division title.
Besides, it's crazy to look at, because week 11 they play the Saints, and then week 12 they play the Giants for the first time, and then they play the Jets week 13. Then they have a bye, which is week 14, which is such a late bye. But I mean, I'd rather have a late bye than a way too early bye. Like a week. When does it start? Week 4, I think, is the earliest, or week 5. Those are
right around there.
So early. But you basically play, like, besides the Jets, you play like week 12 to the end of the season is just all division games.
Yeah, it's your whole division. I mean,
Giants, Jets bye, then Washington, New York, Washington, Dallas. Like, that's nuts. Because remember, we have 17 games now, not 16.
Yeah. No, I'm actually pretty surprised how heavy it is, the division. And you're looking, that Giants game in week 12, you're gonna have one division game under your belt beforehand, and then you'll start your division trek.
Yeah, every year I feel like I think this because of we get to watch so much of the NFC East that we get a grasp of the talent levels. I mean, I would not be surprised if it was the same as it was last year, just like bottom feeders. But I also wouldn't be surprised if like it was competitive. I mean, like the Giants are a couple pieces away from being more competitive. Washington, from what I was watching a little bit today, like a lot of people are high on them because of how strong their defense is, and they think Ryan Fitzpatrick or some younger quarterback can win them games with their defense. And then Dallas is talented on offense. They just got to figure it out on defense. And then the Eagles are just, they got to figure a lot of things out. But
I do agree with you there. I could definitely see another 8-8, 9-7 division winner.
Yeah.
Listen, Ryan Fitzpatrick's never going to get me excited. It just won't happen. I don't think
Washington's there yet. You.
No, the Washington's not there yet. I mean, their defense is good, but this isn't that good of a defense to just make up for the fact their offense is just inept. The Giants don't excite me. They'll have Saquon healthy, and they drafted Tooney, so maybe their offense can do a little bit more. But I don't know. I still think they're, the defense is up and coming. Joe Judge is a good coach. He's got a good unit there. But Daniel Jones, I have no faith in Daniel Jones. The Cowboys are the team that I see as a potential, juggernaut, or not even a juggernaut, but a team that can actually make some noise in the playoffs. Where last year, I feel like everyone just looked as whoever's playing the NFC East winner was just going to get a bye week in the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to even without Prescott. I mean, Dallas still had Andy Dalton was a serviceable starter. I mean, it was that defense that was so bad, and they're still they're a really young defense now, and they still have holes. Secondary is still pretty questionable, but we'll see. I think they could still get exposed, and Dak Prescott's going to have to throw for gaudy numbers again just to catch up, but we'll see. Do you want to jump right in and go week by week and kind of figure out the Eagles' potential?
Let's do it.
Record here. All right. So week 1, like we were saying, we play at the Falcons. Yeah. That's a 1:00 game. And we only have 2 primetime games from what I saw. A Cowboys, I believe it's Monday night, and then a Sunday night against the Bucs. No, Thursday.
Thursday night. Yeah, Thursday night.
But starting week 1, Falcons. Honestly, this game, I think the 2019 season we played the Falcons in the home opener and we lost on that, like, what was it, like a 4th and 3, like there's like 2 minutes left and like Julio caught a screen and then ran like 60 yards down the field.
Jake Matthews steamrolled. I forget who it was, whoever the cornerback was, but Nelson Aguilar had his first, drop. That should have been his hands. Yeah,
I forgot.
That was a brutal game. That game really pissed me off. Like that was one of those that I was really mad about losing that one. Just the way they lost was just crushing.
Yeah, I think the Falcons will. Every year they look like they'll be good, and then they kind of become like meh. I'm leaning towards a week 1 victory for the Eagles.
Really? Yeah. See, you know what? The new coaching staff, new quarterback. There's going to be so many new players on this team. If the Eagles put something together, it's going to be later in the season in my eyes. I don't think they're going to come out of the gates.
I'm just saying, looking at like the first 5 weeks, if they don't win this game, it's a little scary.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but I'm a little bit high on the Falcons. I think Arthur Smith is going to come in there and do really good things to Matt Ryan like he did with Tannehill. Like there's talent on that offense. The defense is garbage, but with there's a lot of changes for the Eagles, and I don't think they're going to put it all together week 1. I think it's a tough game. I think the Falcons will be tough this year, so I'm putting an L. I don't think they're winning that one. Especially in Atlanta. That's a tough one.
I'm fine with that because I felt like it was a toss up, so I'll agree with you there. Then week 2, like I'm going to be honest. If the Niners are fully healthy, I don't think this is a close game. I think the Niners win.
Yeah. See, I actually felt better about the Eagles winning against the Niners than I did the Falcons.
I'm glad to see that we're already off to a terrible start, and you are thinking the exact opposite that I am. So,
well, it's just, the 49ers, they're a weird team because, they were very injured last year. Who knows what they do with Jimmy G? Is Jimmy G even going to be on the team at this point? Because I don't see Trey Lance beating us, week 2 and, inexperienced rookie. You're probably right. I mean, San Francisco traveling to Philly, the cross country makes me think that we have a better chance, but I do agree that I do think the 49ers are going to be pretty deep. So I probably would lean to 0-2 to start the season.
All right. Yeah. I think I think that could be doable. This is where it gets tricky. I think no matter what, the Eagles and Cowboys split. Someone wins, someone loses.
I agree.
Monday night. You know what? I think they'll take the first one because I think the last week of the season will come down to like the Cowboys need to win to clinch the division or something. The Eagles will probably be like, on their 5th line and Joe Flacco is starting because Jalen broke his arm or something.
No, I actually agree with you 100%. That seems exactly how this will play out. The Eagles will win the big one, the Monday Night Football game against Dallas. We'll have all the hype in the world. We'll have the Chiefs coming in next week, but the Cowboys will end up winning the one at the end of the season for them to, clinch the 3rd seed or 2nd seed or whatever they need.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the Eagles are now 1-3. Then we get in welcome the Chiefs to Lincoln Financial Field. Andy Reid coming back. I don't think there's any chance of this.
The
Chiefs typically start off like 8-0 and then they start to lose games. So I think I'll lean Chiefs.
I know it's been a while since Reid's been here, but I have to have a feeling that he's looking forward to this game. Philadelphia is so important to him. Like that's a majority of his career. Obviously he's resurrected his career with Kansas City and Patrick Mahomes now, but this has to be a game he's excited for, to come into Philly at any moment and just torch them. And I fully expect them to torch them, and I don't think it's going to be very close.
Yeah, I think Chiefs is a good pick there. And also, it's so hard to really understand. Like, it's easy to say that this Eagles team is going to be mediocre or below just because it's so unknown. But like we've seen teams come in with new staffs and still have success. It's just depends. Like, I don't know what this defense is going to look like under a whole new scheme and stuff. And I don't know what the offense is going to look like, who our running backs and receivers going to be like. It's a lot of question marks, but I think if they stay healthy, it's going to be, they'll be moderately competitive.
Yeah. The problem with the Eagles, they're like in that that middle ground. Like they brought in a whole new coaching staff, but if you look at the roster, there's really not many changes. It's pretty much the same roster from last year. Obviously, they didn't have any money to go get anyone, and your best players are still the guys that were already on the team. Most of them were hurt last year, but it'd be interesting to see how quickly they gel new coaching staff with old roster, the roster that was already there, but it might take a couple games. And this, you mentioned that if they lose the 49ers and the Falcons to, start the season, they could be in for a rough stretch here.
Yeah. But moving on, we have week 5. We have another one. Most of these games are ones, and then obviously the West Coast teams are all going to be 4:00 games. But Sunday we got week 5, the Panthers. Panthers are another team that's really confusing because you don't know how Sam Darnold's going to pan out. They're pretty young on defense as well. But I don't know. I feel like this is like a game where Jalen has Jalen Hurts has a really nice game on the ground. Mm-hmm. Maybe it has 150 rushing yards, 150 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, big time.
I do feel good about this. I remember my first away game I went to with the Eagles was the year after the Super Bowl when they went to Tampa and Fitzmagic and Deshaun Jackson just torched them. Yeah,
damn,
it was pretty brutal.
Was so frustrating to watch.
It was pretty. I
remember I watched it in a bar, and I was like, "Well, I'm gonna need another beer," and it's only 4:00.
I watched it in 95-degree sweltering heat in Tampa in September. So yeah, it was not fun. But that game, I'll say, it was all Philly. I remember I was in the security line waiting to get my ticket scanned, and I put an EAGLAS chant out there, and everyone was feeling it. Every bar was packed with Eagles fans. It was great. This game, this Carolina game, makes me feel like this might be the game that all the Phillies fans go down and just take over. Mm-hmm. It's close enough to make a nice little drive out of it. Decent game, Panthers, team on the up and up, as you said, but there's a little more excitement to them this year than there was last. Yeah. Matt Rule's a Temple guy, and I think that this could be a game that sees a lot of Eagles fans down there, and I think it helps their chances. So I'm going to give the Eagles the win here as well. Okay. Before they go into the short week and bring in, the GOAT.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this kind of reminds me of, I can't remember what year it was. But there was a couple years back, I know Malcolm Jenkins was on the team, and the Eagles upset the Patriots because Jenkins had a pick 6 and they won by 2 touchdowns or something. Yeah, and that was a year when the Eagles weren't very good. This could be an upset. I feel like they could sneak in and steal one from the Bucs. How are you feeling? Thursday night, week 6 game.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel the same the way you do. I think this is a pretty tough one. You know what? Thursday night, short notice. I'm going to go with the team that's, veteran, established. They know they're all business. It's the young team, inexperienced coach. This might be, a tough turnaround, especially coming off what I'm assuming is going to be a pretty big win against the Panthers, to really help your season, get you back to, 2-3, but I don't see us beating Buccaneers. I see Brady coming in here and doing his thing.
All right, I can live with that. All right, so now Eagles are 2-4. Lovely. Week 7, I think they could reel off a couple wins here though coming up.
This is the stretch of schedule that matters for them because this is
I think, honestly, they could rip off 4 straight here. Broncos and Chargers are kind of question marks. I'm always a little higher on the Chargers than most people.
I like the Chargers this year. I think they're going to be pretty solid. That offense should look pretty good. They brought in a lot of offensive line help. Herbert's stud. I think they have the makings of a pretty solid team there.
Yeah, but before we get to that, let's start at week 7. We have Raiders, 4:00 game in Vegas, like you said. That'd be a fun trip.
That's the one I'm looking at. It's funny, as we were talking, called my boy JT the Brick on Sirius, and he told me after he cut me off, he's like, yeah, every Vegas game is always sold out. There's no way you'll get tickets. And he's like, I'm calling my Vegas Nation to make sure that scumbag Eagles fans will not get tickets either. I was like, all right.
Oh, calling into other stations now, giving them the master class of the Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks podcast.
Spread it out. I'm a generous person. It's a giving, always giving. But I don't know. The Raiders are a team. I'm just like, I feel like we're waiting, and we're always waiting for this team to get better. John Gruden came in, Mike Mayock, big things happened. They tore it all down.
Contract.
Yeah, they had 3 first-round picks the first year because they just gave up the whole team. Now we're in year, 3 or 4? I believe this is year for Gruden.
Already, wow.
And I think we're at the point, all the first-round picks have already been drafted. All the picks you had from Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack. I see Amari Cooper and Khalil Mack still as very good players right now. And the Raiders, you'd have a tough time convincing me they're better right now than they were before Gruden came in, before they made all those trades.
Yeah.
Back when they had the core of, Cooper, Mack, and Derek Carr. I still don't think this team is really scary. They, again, had a very questionable draft. I have been a big Derek Carr hater. I think he's extremely overrated. The defense has left a lot to be desired. They haven't really done anything to excite me there. I don't think the Raiders are a very good team. I feel like they're going nowhere. I think they might have capped out last year, whatever they did, 7-9 or whatever. I think that's the best they're probably going to get. I expect them to be worse this year. So I'll go Eagles here. I think they'll have a good fan base too. First season in Vegas. I think it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Eagles pull off the win here. I feel like for the last 3 years, I've been saying they're going to be Derek Carr's make or break season.
Yeah.
And then he does either has a couple good games, a couple bad games. So he kind of evens himself out. And you're like, all right, maybe next year he'll be worse or better.
Yeah. He doesn't improve.
He just keeps being mediocre. It's like, all right.
Yeah. That was the one thing I never understood about Gruden taking over is he blew up the whole team, got rid of everyone that had value, but kept the quarterback. I just assumed that he wanted to use all those picks he got and go get himself a franchise quarterback instead of just living a mediocrity with Derek Carr. But hey, it's the Raiders. Who the hell knows?
Who knows? Moving on. Another Sunday game, 1:00 at Detroit.
Heavyweight battle here, baby.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Detroit this year. They're rebuilding at the moment, so I would go Eagles by default. Although the Lions seem to give us trouble sometimes. I don't know why.
I was furious when they lost to the Lions last time they played with that ridiculous kickoff return touchdown.
Oh yeah.
We're in the age of the NFL where the kickoff has been completely eliminated. The only team I've seen in the last, I think, 5 years gave up a kick return touchdown is the Eagles. So no, they have to right their wrongs from the last time. If they lose to the Lions, this is a top 5 draft pick team. No, I honestly can't put it any other way because if you lose to the Lions, that's going to gut punch you, and you're going to get into a couple. You're going to bring LA here, the Chargers, who I think will be pretty good. Then you're going to have to go to Denver, and then the Saints, who I expect to be pretty good before you run the division gauntlet. You need these easy wins. I don't know if I say easy, but you need these. Beat the Raiders, beat the Lions, beat these teams you should be beating.
Yeah, we'll see. How are we feeling about Chargers? So Eagles are back home after 2 weeks on the road. No, this is another toss-up game. This one and then the one after against the Broncos, I think, are toss-ups. They could go either way. Depends on how well Herbert, because this is the midway of the season now, week 9. So it depends on how well Herbert's playing. I think he could kind of have a lesser year, still be good, but not be as electric as he was. They have a new staff as well, so this is rookie coaches battle.
Yeah,
I think it's tough. I think the Chargers probably have the better defense.
Yeah.
Offensively, I could make the argument for the Eagles.
I don't know if that'd be a strong argument, but sure.
I mean, they have Keenan Allen but
I don't see. I'm a little high on Justin Herbert this year because last year watching him, he was pretty exciting and he did a lot of good things as a rookie, but he lost pretty much all those games. He took, I know, the Mahomes to the overtime, and he was close in all these games all the time, and he was there, but he never won any of them, and they didn't really finish with a great record. Second year now, I think that experience is going to help him. I think he's going to be a little sharper. I think they helped him a lot on the offensive line with drafting Slater, who fell in their lap, and signing Lindsley. So I think that's going to go a long way. I like the Chargers as a sneaky wild card team. I don't think the Eagles are going to be able to beat them. I do see the Chargers coming in and knocking them off. I will say, though, I feel better about the Broncos game, pending Aaron Rodgers being there. But I don't know if you beat the Chargers, but I do like going into Denver and beating the Broncos.
All right. I was gonna say I feel like the Eagles usually beat the Chargers, but if you are so convinced that they're gonna win, then
it's gonna be. Listen,
because look, I was looking at it this way. If we picked the Eagles to beat the Chargers, I would have had them look, we win 3 in a row, and then they would have gotten upset by the Broncos. So I'm just to skip ahead here. I'm gonna say Eagles beat the Broncos in a rebound game.
Yeah, unless Aaron Rodgers
is there.
Yeah, unless Aaron Rodgers is on that team. The Broncos have a lot of issues. If they bring in Aaron Rodgers, that gets rid of all their issues. But unless they do that,
maybe Bridgewater plays well. We don't know.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Okay. But sure. You sound like an optimistic Denver Bronco fan who's going to tell me that Drew Lock is developing into a stud quarterback.
I wouldn't say stud, but all right. So I guess we'll be in a. Yeah, I think it's fair to say week 9 and 10. So Chargers at the Eagles and the Eagles at Denver. I think they'll split one, like those 2 games, win 1, lose 1.
That is going to be the most important part of your schedule is those 4 games there because they're all winnable games.
Yes.
And the first 6, you're looking at if you break 500, if you get 500 at the first 6, that's an absolute win. That's a huge win.
I would much rather, I actually, now that I'm looking at it, I really like this schedule. Because of how it's like you play your hardest opponents in the beginning of the season. Niners, Falcons, Buccaneers, and Chiefs. And then that's the rest of it's like middle of the road teams. And then your division. So
when are you going to catch one of these really good teams sleeping? You're not going to beat the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, or the Niners in week 12. Not when they are locked in.
That's why I'm saying week 6 maybe a little too far in, but
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even, if the Eagles beat the Chiefs in like a close game, it wouldn't completely shock me because it's early. Like Chiefs can lose a game early. It's not.
Not Andy Reid coming to Philly.
I don't that's see week 4. Losing. That's September. September is always weird. Like we never really you don't really know teams about till like mid-October. I feel like then you start to get a feel for where the teams are at.
I'm telling you, Andy is not coming in and losing to the Eagles in Philadelphia. That's not happening.
If I had this conversation with him, I'm sure he would say he wants to win, but
you'd hope. I mean, I feel that sentiment about the first 2 weeks with the Falcons, Niners. Like those are 2 teams that, didn't do great last year, but had a lot of, injuries or, just personnel issues or coaching issues. I think you catch, either of them. We picked the Eagles losing both those games, but I wouldn't be surprised if they won both those games at the same time. So we'll see. On to the next one. I don't think Drew Brees or not. We just never beat the Saints. I don't care if they're home or not. I'm not. And it's something about maybe I'm a little more bullish on Jameis Winston than everyone else. I don't think the Saints are going to be that bad this year.
They're tough. I don't like Jameis Winston. I don't care that he sat behind Drew Brees and he's like, put more into his like quarterback game. Like I just never liked him as a quarterback. But I agree with you. I think the Saints, for whatever reason, they just always destroy the Eagles. So
yeah, it's never Saints actually. And I thought this last year. I want to say I think it was the Buccaneers game in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But Taysom Hill was hurt, didn't play, and you just saw, wow, Drew Brees really doesn't have it anymore. He looked like a shell of himself out there, and I feel like having Taysom Hill as the gadget guy kind of made it easier for Drew Brees because he required so much defensive attention. Hill did that it made it easier for Brees to read the defense, find the open man. Once you took Hill out of it and it was just all Brees, man, teams were just taking it to him. He looked terrible out there. He looked like he had nothing left. I wasn't surprised when I saw that game. I was not surprised that he retired. He clearly had nothing left, and Sean Payton was coaching his ass off and turned Taysom Hill into a gadget guy that teams had to respect. And it benefited Drew Brees a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy how some players are at the top of the game, and then a couple of games go by or a month goes by, and all of a sudden they're just dead.
Hey, I preached that Philip Rivers was going to have an Eli Manning year last year, and he held his own and didn't look that bad. Drew Brees had his Eli Manning.
He retired too, though.
Yeah, but at least he went off, off a good season. Drew Brees looked terrible, man. If Taysom Hill wasn't on that team, I think you'd really realize how bad Drew Brees was.
Yeah. All right. We heading into week 12. Eagles sit at 5-6. Not bad for them.
Not bad.
I think so. Like I said, I think they split with Dallas, but it's so hard to tell because we really don't know how this team's going to play. Like if they're really bad, they could probably get swept by the division. But I think what happens is because the Eagles tend to play the division pretty well. I mean, at least under Doug, they did. So I'm looking at it this way: they split with the Cowboys. They split with either Washington or New York, but then it would have to be Washington or New York. They'll go 2-0 against them. Is how I'm kind of feeling.
I could agree with that. If you're going with that sentiment, I kind of like.
I would say them. They always have the Giants number. I would kind of lean towards
the split on Washington. I was going to say I could see them beating Washington off the bye week, and then that week 17 matchup against Washington, where you could realistically probably see both of them contending for the division.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Washington might be in a better situation than we are and take that game a little bit more serious. And I think that might be tougher for them to win.
I could see that. I mean, so they would end up like losing 2 straight till the end of the season if that's the scenario.
Honestly, wouldn't surprise me.
All right. Well, let's get there when we get there. So then next up with the Jets, I think the Jets are going to be they'll have a bad year. But they're finding their way, trying to build pieces together, and I mean they have some talent. It wouldn't shock me if they did, 6-10, 7-9. But I think they'll be another 2-3 win team.
Yeah, this is just like the Detroit game. If you lose this game, then wow, you are a lot bad. You're a lot worse than we thought you were going to be. If you lose to the Jets or the Lions, you're drafted in the top 5. You can't afford to lose those games.
I just want to say off the rip. Based on how this is going, Eagles fans are going to be pissed because we have them 0-5 at home.
We have pretty much every away game, every away team winning.
Which doesn't sound right.
It doesn't. Well, you know what? The questionable one is we have the Niners and the Chargers both taking the West Coast trip and just beating the Eagles. And I would be surprised. I kind of like both those teams a little bit better than the Eagles going into the season. But man, if you have 2 West Coast teams come across the country and beat you at home, that's a pretty rough look.
Yeah, but I think coming off the bye, they get their first home win of the season. That's crazy to me.
That would be pretty rough.
So yeah, we can actually based on what we were saying earlier, we can probably speed through this. So then
if you like talk about the home schedule, would you be surprised if this week 15 Washington game is the first home win? You got the Buccaneers, the Chiefs, the Niners, then the Chargers, the Saints. I think the Chargers are the team that you maybe expect them to beat at home, but man, that is a tough stretch at home.
I think they could definitely upset between the Niners, Chiefs, and Bucks, one of those teams. But yeah, look, I mean, would I expect them to be one? I would expect them to have a better home record than away, but this is just how the schedule came out.
Maybe not this year. I mean, you're playing the Detroit and the Jets away, the Panthers away, the Broncos away. I mean, hey, if you want your best teams at home, give yourself a better advantage. We can go with that.
So going into the bye, hold on, now I'm confusing myself. Going into the bye, they were 6-7. So then we have them off of bye being Washington. And then week 16, we agreed that they'll take both games from the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
And then we said week 17, they lose to Washington because honestly, the Eagles are in the division battle right now too. They lose to Washington, then lose to Dallas the last game, finish 7-10. That doesn't make sense.
17 games.
Oh, you're right. That's so weird to look at.
Look at you. You had your first little. Wait a minute. You had your first little double take on week 17 weeks.
7-10. I can see it.
Sure. I mean, it seems very believable. The first 3 weeks, I think, will tell us because those are 3 teams that are.
Wait, hold on. I lied. We had them beating the. Wait, why did I click on the Giants for both those? Hold on. Now we got to redo it because I'm stupid. They actually came out to be 9-8 because I clicked on the wrong thing.
Yeah,
so 9-8. That's more respectable.
Yeah, we got them winning 4 games in a row there at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Man, could you imagine that heartbreak?
Yeah, but, 4 games and then to lose back to back to Washington.
I know. I was like, could you imagine the heartbreak? You go in, you win 2 before your bye week. Probably can, hype yourself a little bit, that you're in the division hunt. Then you win the next 2 after the bye week. Now you're definitely talking division. Then you go and drop 2 games to your rivals to end the year, probably eliminate yourself in the playoffs. Yeah. That would be a brutal stretch to the end of the season.
Let's real quick, let's just quickly go through the other teams. So how about I'll be Dallas, and I'll just go through and pick their games really quick, and then you can be Washington, and then we'll split the Giants. All right. Home opener, yeah, they're not beating the Buccaneers. I think they'll beat the Chargers.
Fair enough, going out there.
Yeah, lose to the Eagles. They'll beat Panthers. They'll split with the Giants. I'll have them win there. Lose to the Patriots, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know.
It's Bill Belichick. You never know.
Yeah. Cam Newton.
Vikings are also a big question mark.
Vikings are a weird team. They've got talent there.
I think Dalvin Cook goes off if he's healthy. Beat the Broncos. Falcons get their revenge. Chiefs win. And then they're going to rip off a couple here. They beat the Raiders, beat the Saints, I think. Beat Washington, beat New York again. New York's going to have a rough season. Lose to Washington. Actually, I take that back. They'll split with the Giants.
You are all over the place.
I am.
You just can't make up your mind here.
Beat the Cardinals, and then they beat the Eagles. So they win 3 straight to finish the year. They finish 8-9. Wow.
Wait, you just said you have them winning 3 straight to end the year? You just put them losing against Washington and Cardinals.
I did it again. Why do I keep doing that?
Listen, I'm trying to help you, guy. You're not helping yourself here.
All right. So yeah, finished the year winning 3 straight. Cowboys finished 10-7 ahead of the Eagles.
It's realistic. I can believe that.
All right. Let's go Washington. Who you got?
Chargers. Obviously, I'm on the wagon, so I like the Chargers. Okay. I think Justin Herbert's going to take a jump this year. I think he's going to learn how to win those close games. I think Washington and the Giants are both pathetic franchises going nowhere, but I think the Giants are going nowhere more than Washington. So I think Washington wins that game at home.
Okay.
Yeah, no way. They're beating the Bills. Absolutely no way. There's no way. Again, I don't think they're going to Atlanta and win that game either. I am a little more high on the Falcons. I don't think they're going to be. You know what? I don't think they're going to win the next 5 games here.
So we have the Falcons basically sweeping the division. I don't know about that.
Well, hey,
that is the NFC East.
It's true. So I'm a little high on the Falcons. I think
I should have given you the Cowboys and myself the Washington football team because I'm a little higher on Washington than you are. But
what are you actually high on though? Like their defense is good, sure. Like their front 7 is good.
No, their secondary is solid.
I think their defense is solid, but it's not good enough to make up for a dismal offense. All right, you lie to yourself and act like Ryan Fitzpatrick's something exciting at quarterback. You know what? I can't have them lose 5 in a row, so I'll give them the Saints. They can beat the Saints, but they're not beating the Chiefs. And I'm assuming Aaron Rodgers is on the Packers, so I'm going to say that they lose to them as well. Wait, my guy, I picked the Chiefs, and then I picked them to beat the Saints. You really struggle with this.
I don't know why I keep clicking on that.
Did you test this website before you wanted to give it a go?
Yeah, I've used this many years. I'm just dumb.
It does. Okay, well.
All right, how about week 8, Washington versus the Broncos?
I didn't realize how much shit talking and hatred we would give the Broncos, but I'm not going to end it now. Fuck
Nick's not going to like it. He's the Broncos.
The Broncos stink. Unless they get Aaron Rodgers, then they'll be competitive. But that team there's no excitement to that team for me.
And they have a bye week, and then off the bye, Tampa Bay is in town.
Oh, they get a repeat of their playoff matchup.
Which was actually very close.
It's the closest game the Buccaneers had all playoffs. I still expect Brady to beat them.
Okay. And then we have week 11 against the Panthers.
I'll give them the Panthers game. I think they can beat the Panthers. That's Ron. You know what? That's Ron Rivera coming back home. I think he's gonna be juiced up and ready to go and get the boys ready, and they're gonna win that game for him. Seahawks are a weird team. That's another team. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a dip. But you know what? Monday Night Football, I'll lie to myself. I think Ron Rivera is going to come off a big win going back to Carolina. I think they could do it.
Okay.
The Raiders, the only team I've criticized more than the Broncos. I'm not letting them win. Going with the football team.
All right. And then we have them losing to the Cowboys, beating the Eagles. No, losing the Eagles.
Losing the Cowboys. They'll beat the Eagles, and I think they'll beat the Giants too at the end of the year. I think the Giants are going to be pretty out of the division run. Mm-hmm. We're at 8-9, so you could, the way this is shaking out, the Washington would have a chance, I guess, at the division at the end of the year. So I think they'll win that game.
Okay, 8-9, I could see that. That's not super far fetched. I could see, like, I honestly, the way this is all coming out is very much how this division could go. So let's just do. We'll just go back and forth. I'll do 1 week, you do the other for whichever ones we haven't done. So I'll start. These poor Broncos are going 0-4 against the NFC East. I'm taking the Giants.
And well, now I got the Falcons, and I kind of want to stay hype on them, and I don't think the Giants are going to be very good. So I'm going to let the Falcons go 4-0 in the division.
4, and I don't see that happening, but we'll see. Giants Saints. Yeah, I'm going to go Saints. Giants Rams. Thank God the Eagles don't have to play the Rams or the Seahawks.
Yeah, I think the Rams are going to be a very, very good team this year. I have them as a strong Super Bowl contender. If you factor in,
I don't know Super Bowl, but I think they'll make playoffs.
I look at the NFC. Assume who the hell knows what's going to happen with Green Bay. They could go from Super Bowl contender to irrelevant if Aaron Rodgers gets moved.
Yeah,
the Buccaneers are the Buccaneers. They're defending Super Bowl champs, and I expect them to be in the running again. No one really excites me. The Rams are the next team in the NFC in my mind that as Super Bowl contender. I think Matt Stafford's gonna have a big year. I think McVay's system has been figured out a little bit, but I don't think McVay's a bad coach. I think that he was held back a little bit by Jared Goff and the poor decisions he makes. I think bringing in Stafford is going to let McVay open up his offense a little bit more and get creative again. And I think it'll help make up for the fact that, they don't have much of a run game, where I think the run game was making Jared Goff look better than he actually was, like when Todd Gurley was there in the prime years of McVay's coaching tenure. But I like the Rams, man. They have a good defense. I've always been a Stafford fan. I think if you put Stafford on a team that's competent and doesn't rebuild every other year,
I thought you were giving a lot. You were giving a lot of shade to Stafford. I had him in my top 10 quarterbacks. I don't think you had him in your top 10.
Because you know what? Because I'm furious that I have to repeat this to you, but it's all about what I thought they were going to do in the 2020 season. And if I started my team, where would I want them? I didn't expect him to leave the Lions. I didn't expect that to happen with the rankings. So I was not going to be optimistic about his 2020. And he's an older guy with a lot of injury history. And
yeah, but they gave up a lot to get him. So.
But you know what? Go for it. McVay's not going to be coaching forever. He doesn't have a Gruden 10-year deal. He already got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. I think he needs to rehab his image. McVay, I think, is on a very critical year this year.
Isn't he like 39 years old?
Yeah, but you know what? The wonderkin, the smartest coach in the NFL kind of allure has rubbed off. Doug Peterson got fired and he won an actual Super Bowl.
That's true.
Sean McVay, came in, he was cute, he was fun, he flexed his muscles, he stayed in shape and had the cool little shark spiky fin thingy-bob that people do. But you know what? Since then, he's embarrassed himself in the Super Bowl. Jared Goff has regressed mightily, and this team has gone nowhere. What are the Rams now? A very good defensive team. I think Stafford is going to help rehab McVay's image, and I hope he does, because, man, if they don't look good this first year, it's going to be rough for them, because you don't have any draft picks, and you better hope that Stafford and McVay find it, because you don't have any way of fixing this after this.
We're doing the Giants schedule, right? Not the Rams.
Yeah, I know.
You just gave a glowing review of the Rams. Oh, they're going to be great.
To be fair, the most talked about teams we've done so far, the Broncos, Falcons, and Raiders, we haven't done either of their schedules. So, we're all over the place. We're, optimistic people with a little ADHD.
I will say it's going to be weird seeing no Doug Peterson visor on the sideline. Like, that first game is going to just be so awkward, I feel like watching it.
Is it going to be awkward because you're going to look at the sidelines and look at a whole bunch of random faces and not know who the actual head coach is. Because if you showed me Nick Sirianni in the lineup right now, I probably couldn't identify him.
I know what he looks like by now. I've watched enough press conferences, but yeah, he literally looks like a regular dude.
Yeah, in my eyes, he is a regular dude. He could be coming off the streets. I know but we digress.
The poor Panthers. I feel like we had them lose to everyone, so I'll give them a win there. I guess they're going to lose to the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's not happening. Yeah, so give me the Chiefs.
We shit on the Raiders enough, so I'll take the Giants.
Oh, look at you. All right, that's cute.
Bye week, and then wow. So the Giants and Washington both go into their bye and leave it going into Tampa. That's terrible.
Not gonna lie, this schedule worked out pretty easily because I've had 3 of my Super Bowl contenders back to back here, and I'm going Buccaneers.
Okay. Dolphins are. Ooh, that's an interesting game.
That is interesting.
I'm gonna have the Giants win that one.
I would have gone the same way. Yeah, I do think that the Giants beat the Dolphins, but I think the Chargers beat the Giants.
You think Chargers win?
Yeah, you're home. Giants are, traveling across the country. Big stretch of games against the, Cowboys and Eagles the next couple weeks afterwards.
We'll see. And then the last game, Giants and Bears. I mean, this is Bears maybe competing for wild card.
Is Justin Fields the quarterback at this point?
Oh, I would assume so.
I would assume so as well.
I don't think they're going to be. A lot of people are giving them a lot of hype now. I don't see it yet.
I don't know why.
I mean, their defense, they have a good defense. They need to take advantage of that. But I'm going to take the Giants to take a late season win, and then where they finish at 5-12. I don't think they'll be that bad, but
honestly, it would not surprise me. I really don't think, besides the Cowboys, because I do think the Cowboys are going to be much better with Dak out there. Besides the Cowboys, I really don't think this division is going to be much better than it was last year.
Honestly, looking at it right now, so we have Cowboys winning the East at 10-7, 4-2 division record. Then we have the Eagles coming in second, 9-8.
That is extremely optimistic. I just, if you tell me the Eagles 9-8, that number doesn't sound right from what I know, from the roster I know, the situation they're in. That number just doesn't sound right.
I know, but like going through it, I feel like we picked pretty fairly. I don't think we gave them any like bias really.
Yeah, but just how
if we were biased, we would not let them go 2-6 at home.
That's true. But something about them makes
72
me feel like
away just does not look right either though.
They're gonna lose either the Jets or the Lions game. They're gonna lose one of them, and I'll be so pissed. I hope it's not the Jets game, because if they lose that game and then go into the bye week and then you have this onslaught of divisional teams, I'll just be so defeated, so deflated on the season. It'll just take everything out of me. But they're gonna lose one of those games.
Yeah. But so yeah, we have Eagles in second at 9-8, 4-2 division record. Washington 8-9, 3-3 division record. Then the New York Giants 5-12, 1-5 in the division. Who did we have them beat? Oh, they beat Dallas once, I think. Yeah. You got them lose to Washington twice. Wow.
The Eagles go 4-2 at the division. That would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I think besides the Giants going 5-12, I think this is pretty reasonable. I think all 4 teams will finish in this realm of like above a couple games below or above 500. So I think 10-7 for the Cowboys is pretty. If I had to bet money on it, I would pick that record out of any other options. But I'm not super high on the Cowboys. I think they'll win the division, but I'm not like I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything.
If their offensive line can come back healthy, I would say it's, top 5 unit if it's healthy. I think that offense could be really, really good if things come in. I expect CeeDee Lamb to have a big year his second year.
Yeah,
Cooper's stud.
They've been good every season. It's just they can't put it together on defense and they can't finich games. So I mean,
yeah, but you know what? They were putting up 100 points a game when Dak was healthy. So I would expect that to continue. And
I think I was talking to Nick the other day, but I'm like, the more and more, especially now that he's a Dallas Cowboys coach, like Mike McCarthy just is not as good a coach as I thought he was.
Oh, he's extremely overrated.
Like he had Rodgers, when he was in Green Bay and stuff. But like he just seems like not that exciting of a coach anymore. I don't know, but
he reminds me of Mike Brown, and the old Cleveland coach. Like he coached LeBron those years, and like they were contenders and they were good and everything, but like his legacy was just tied to LeBron, where LeBron was so good that like I could have coached him probably to the East Conference Finals.
The Cavaliers. And then like you said the Browns.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Mike Brown, the basketball coach. I'm going, cross sport platform here.
Oh, now you're confusing me. All right, Mike Brown, former Cavs coach. Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, he had LeBron, and he made himself look really good, and when really it was just LeBron. And then he went on to, I think it was the Knicks job, if I'm correct, looked terrible, and then he's never got sniffed another head coaching opportunity since. I think Mike McCarthy's in more or less the same realm. Had Aaron Rodgers to make up for his issues, came to the Cowboys, hasn't done anything really to impress me that much. There's been plenty of talent on that team, especially offensively when he's supposed to be an offensive guy. But yeah,
I mean, I don't. I remember hearing all those stories about how he had like basement, like he was doing his own like mock team and stuff, and like doing his own scouting, and had like a team in his basement or something, like practicing. And then he went like, what did they go like 5? How many games did the Cowboys win last year? Like 6, 7?
More than that, yeah, 6 or 7, yeah.
Because Washington,
I want to say actually it was 6. I think.
Yeah, because Washington won 7 and 9. Yeah, because Dallas and New York, I think, tied at 6 wins. So, and the Eagles were what, 4-11-1. Pitiful.
Yeah.
Hopefully, are we gonna have any ties this year? We don't play the Bengals, so no ties.
No. I mean, well, let's put it this way. Last year, if we did a schedule release episode last year, I can guarantee you we put the Bengals down as a win. If they find a way to tie against the Jets or Lions, which would be the equivalent of tying to the Bengals last year, I'll just lose my mind. I'll throw a chair and throw a window of whatever establishment I'm at.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Looking at this, like, I don't think they do any worse than 3-3 in the division. So I don't think there's too much wiggle room there. But, I mean, you could say like Raiders, Lions, Jets, they could get upset one of those. But I also think at the same time, between Niners, Chiefs, and Bucks, and even Falcons, I think they could win one of those games too. So,
yeah,
I think 9-8, 8-9 is their realm. So that came out well. That's exactly what I was thinking. So,
yeah. So we talked, a lot on the Eagles. I broke down the schedule. Are there any other games across the NFL that caught your eye? I know one that everyone's talking about. I think everyone's been waiting for is Tom Brady going back to New England. And is there a single athlete going back to their former team that would be where they were more accomplished, more beloved, more of a, just a spectacle than Tom Brady going back to the Patriots in sports history, not just football? Because I don't think I can think of one, well, maybe Michael going back to the Bulls, but that was, a retirement or two after. Yeah. This is the second season. This is the second season after he's left the Patriots, and this first season he was gone, he won a Super Bowl. So he's still on top of the world. He's going back to his former team, which are expecting, they're expecting to be a little bit better than they were last year. I can't think of a single return by any athlete in any sports, game ever where it was more hyped or more talked about, more of a storyline than Brady going back to the Patriots.
Yeah, at Foxborough.
Yeah, so. It is a tough stretch, though. I mean, they're going to play them. They're going to go to LA. Then they'll have the Patriots game, which will be emotional. I can't imagine Brady's going to lose that game. Something tells me he's going to be locked in on that one.
It wouldn't shock me. Who knows who? I don't know if Cam going to be quarterback? Is Mac Jones going to? Could you imagine the Tom Brady replica Mac Jones, or not replica, but
replica is a very generous word.
Wannabe replica goes in and beats Tom Brady in his homecoming. That'd be nuts.
Do you feel like Bill Belichick is just like spent 20 years with Tom Brady and just knows him inside and out, that he just knows the defensive scheme to come out? Because I kind of like
Bill is a defensive-minded coach. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't shock me. But
would it surprise you if he's like been just waiting for this day for so long? He's seen him in practice so many times, probably criticizing the hell out of him every rep he's ever taken, under his breath, or probably telling him. I feel like I'd be interested to see what defensive scheme he comes up with to stop Tom Brady, because Listen, if that doesn't work, then Tom Brady just can't be stopped. If Bill Belichick can't come up with a defensive plan to stop Tom Brady, then he just can't be stopped.
Do you think there's any chance Tom Brady has a Drew Brees-esque season where he kind of falls off towards the end of the year and becomes a shell of himself?
Man, I
don't know about maybe not this year, but I think next year that could happen. But
really, I mean, at this point, he's older than Drew Brees was.
Yeah,
and he just won a Super Bowl. Something about he plays the game. It's not really just his, his arm or his athleticism. It's just he's so smart. He'll never take a big hit. He just won't ever. It'll never happen. He always has his dump off or his check down. To be fair, he's had that his entire career. That's
what I'm saying. He had a relatively his playoffs. He didn't really have to do too much. Everything kind of fell right in place for him. I mean, even the Super Bowl was almost like a cupcake walk for him. I don't think he was even touched.
Well, that's Brady. He's not going to get touched. That was my biggest hesitation about him going to the Arians system, because the Arians loves to get his quarterbacks killed while they look for the downfield option. And, obviously in the first couple of weeks, it took him a little bit to get it going. But I think Brady eventually, won in that argument. Listen, I'm not getting hit. I don't care what the play calls for. I'm not getting hit.
NFC South fans probably love us because we have the Buccaneers and the Falcons going 4-0 against the NFC East.
Yeah, we're big NFC South people.
Apparently,
we hate the AFC West, but we love the NFC South.
Yeah, we're not going to go any more really in depth with the schedule right now. We'll have assuming we still do this come August, we'll do an actual breakdown of other team schedules and stuff and predict just winners and whatnot. But
I said, this is Christmas morning before you open the presents. You come down, you look at them, they're all wrapped so nicely right in front of you. You got the big boxes. Something's good in those big boxes, but you don't know what it is yet. You got the ones with the bows and the glitter and the nice wrapping paper. It's all right in front of you. Some of them are going to be terrible, but some of them are great. And that's the way I look at this schedule. I don't know. Maybe they knock off the Buccaneers. Maybe they knock off the Chiefs. Maybe they lose to the Jets. Maybe they tie the Lions. Yeah, I love it. I love you get this view of what the season's going to be. You take your predictions, you make your guesses, and then it happens. And then it's nothing like you thought it was going to be. But it excites you now because there's unlimited possibilities in what could happen.
Yeah. I mean, every year we go in thinking we were pretty hot. What did we have the Eagles going? 11-5, 12-4 last year.
Sounds about right. We didn't realize how terrible they were until they tied with the Bengals.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, this team is just such a question mark because we just don't know how the coaching staff's going to perform. Because to me, that's the biggest question. I think there's a lot of talent on this team. It just needs to be kind of tapped. Because I look at it now that they got Kerryon Johnson that's a top 10 running back room right now. I think the wide receivers need a lot of work, but I think there's Devontae Smith being there. If Fulgham can be somewhat of what he was doing in the beginning of the year. I think Rager and Zeal played really well. I think Hurts should have a good year as long as he's got the mindset to be great. And he's been training all offseason for what I've seen. If the line can stay somewhat healthy, they'll be good. And we got players coming back. The defense has got some talent too. I think they could compete. Maybe make a wild card game or something, but that's being super optimistic.
Yeah, I'll end on this.
But we'll have injuries and stuff. So
if they go 9-8, I believe it was we had them.
Yeah,
I will be very surprised and very happy.
I'll be happy with 9-8.
Oh yeah, I'm still in the mindset that they might be looking at a top 6 draft pick again next year.
You really think if Jalen Hurts plays, as he was playing last year, maybe a little better, you think they'll only win 4 or 5 games?
See, it's the Saints game he looked good, but there was a couple games he looked really bad, and he
was a rookie and didn't have much of an offseason with COVID, and now he's got full.
No, listen, I like Jalen Hurts. I hope he wins, but I've seen these guys, these mobile guys. He did it in the Saints. He was very mobile, and he caught them off guard, I think. But then, coaches were starting to realize what he was and how to stop him. I'm worried about that. I'm curious to see. Now everyone's going to have tape on him. They're all going to know him. They're all going to prepare for him. We'll see what happens. I'm questionable with the defense. You know, are you really relying on Brandon Graham to again have another incredible year this late in his career? Because he's your best defender, the way you look at it.
Yeah.
Your offense, your best players are on the offensive line and they're all coming off injury. You know, maybe they come back and you're looking at a top 5 unit. Maybe they're all injured again, or they don't get back to their form and they're the Swiss whole offensive line you had last year. The weapons, you know, leave a little bit to be desired, especially if you end up trading Zach Ertz. So it depends. I mean, 9-8 would make me very happy, and I would be shocked. But hey, I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to wish for the best, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm giving them between 7 and 9 wins. I think is very feasible for this talent on this team. Again, it comes down to the coaching staff and how they execute. So
very true. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, went according to plan. No, not too much bias here, I would say. But you know, we'll see. That's the thing about the NFL is exciting is that it's, you know, even though the season ended and we just had the draft, like now we're going OTAs and stuff and training camp, so it never really ends. And
right around the corner
to talk about. So
hey, 365, that's what they are. But
yeah,
it's been a good one as always.
Always a pleasure. All right.
Well, I'll talk to you.
All right. Peace out.
Peace.